Hello and welcome to this exclusive show on what Gen Z wants from the budget. India is the youngest country in the world and we are going to be that for another couple of decades, Anushi.
Absolutely.
And it'll be very, very interesting to see what Gen Z sees from the budget, not just for this year, but over the next 20 years. This will be useful in terms of insights as to what they want.
Yeah, and we are currently in NMIMS campus with some of the brightest minds over here to provide us insights on, what is the Gen Z pulse looking like, what can we expect from this upcoming budget. So, very interesting, very excited about this segment. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's not waste time. Let's go straight through. Hi, so give me your name and give us your expectation from Budget 2025. It's going to be the first full budget of Modi 3.0. What is your expectation from this budget?
Hello, my name is Ansh Mittal and I expect this budget to do something for the credit access to MSMEs. Like we see that we have MSMEs in this country which do not get credit access, like my family does a MSME business and we have to wait for 2 to 3 years to get the access for credit and the loans, and we can also see the improvement in infrastructure for NBFCs. Like they can also get the approval from RBI for priority sector lending.
Very interesting. And for how long has your family been in the MSME business? And what business do you do?
Basically, my father has been in this business for more than 25 years and now my brother has joined the business, which he has opened a food processing industry.
Okay,
so
very
we
cool.
are trying for that for the last 5 years.
Understood. So that's where the pain point is.
Yeah, but you know what? I just want to talk about this one movie dialogue, which is don't underestimate the power of a common man. And when you talk about that, the first thing that comes to mind is taxes. So I want to get your perspective on what do you think about the current tax system which is there. If you can give us more insights on that.
So, Gen
First,
Z.
state your name.
Yeah, hi, I'm Shrijata Mukherjee and I'm doing my master's in economics. So, my take is that Gen Z is going to make the bulk workforce in the upcoming years, and the salaries have stagnated since 2015 for entry and mid-level jobs, but the inflation and the taxes aren't. So, if there is a concession, if there are tax concessions or a slight reduction in the 7 to 15 lakh earning range, then people will have more money to spend. The consumerism will increase, and according to MOSPI's data, last quarter consumerism has fallen, which is concerning for an economy which is very dependent on spending in a way.
And even if you take the equity markets in consideration, I want to ask you if you personally invest and if there is some sort of relaxation that you look from there as well.
I'm an SIP person and I look for safety on.
Okay, your take.
My name's Himanshu. I'm a master's student here at NMIMS. Personally, I think from the budget, we expect more investment in education, but more than that, as a student, I want a simpler tax code, something I can understand, something I can interpret possibly, because the GST regime right now, I don't know if you guys have heard of the popcorn meme going around, the salted popcorn and the caramel
We're the ones
popcorn.
creating it.
Yeah. So if you have a look at that, when I go about constructing my personal budget for the month as a young professional, as a student, I want to know how much of it will be going to the taxes so that I can structure it accordingly. I don't want to be so confused. Further, I think investment is a great vehicle for upward movement, especially for the middle class, all of us students. And over there, I think some encouragement, some form of encouragement or some form of clarification on the government side on investments on atypical classes, crypto and the like.
Very interesting. So, really diverse set of views coming through, Anushi.
Absolutely.
Taxes, education, and investing in crypto.
But let's also talk about some of the big sectors that are there. You have your railways, your infra, your defense. So let's put attention on that as well and see what are the sector expectations like. I want to take your take on this.
So I think I'm Anupama. I really think the government should prioritize more privatization in defense. It has already started in that direction, but I think in that sector, in the defense sector at least, there should be more privatization, get in more private players. Also infrastructure in terms of me as a female, I am entering the workforce in a couple of months, so I would really like a lot of investment in infrastructure in the terms of like increasing female workforce participation, improving their access to credit, increasing daycare facilities, improving, introducing flexible workforce policies, things like that.
Absolutely. And apart from the sectors also, if you want to consider, what are your top expectations?
So in at least in terms of female entrepreneurship, that is something I really want a focus on. For example, improving at least access to career, increasing incubation centers for women who are at least interested in the data science, tech-oriented fields, like improving women entrepreneurship in that area.
Absolutely, Harsh. That was, even very important women workforce improvement in that aspect. But what more should we expect?
Yeah, so please give us your name, give us your take. What do you expect?
Hi, I'm Jagriti Jain. From the upcoming budget, I expect it to prioritize job creation and quality of work with fair wages. I mean, we Gen Zs have right knowledge, right skills, right education, but still we don't have enough jobs or a good healthy environment to work in. So if the budget can incentivize the corporates in the right direction so that they can invest in a healthy environment, a fair wage, then I think we will progress, and with us the country will progress as well.
Well, very interesting. Job creation is one of the asks. Let me come on this side of the aisle. Yeah, please tell us your expectations and your name first and then your expectations.
So myself, Naman Bashir. So from the upcoming budget, I have an expectation that there should be a targeted tax incentive R&D program for the companies investing in R&D sector, simply because the Indian companies have been very laggard in terms of expanding in R&D, where only 37% of our spending is done through private sector. And if we look at the numbers, also only 0.7% of GDP is being expended right now on R&D, and especially it mostly done by the government. So our targeted would be that in the terms of the benefits, it will be tied.
Any specific sector where you would like targeted R&D?
So that's why. So it's the benefit should be tied to the deliverable outcomes. So for example, number of patents filed or the products ready for the new products ready for commercial development.
But any place where you feel India should work more on R&D, any particular space?
And so I want it to be only in priority sectors like AI, healthcare, and pharmaceuticals, as well as in defense and in IT services.
Perfect, very specific.
You know what? I want to create one interesting situation. Let's imagine that you are the finance minister for 1st of February. So if you were the finance minister, top 3 things that you would want right at the top of it on your budget expectation.
So my name is Harish Sarda, and if you are coming from finance, so I'm a chartered accountant only. So coming to the points, like first of all, the income tax reductions that the common man would expect, like the middle class's expectation is expecting cuts in the tax rates. So first of all is this, and second is coming on the education sector. If we see the if I'm Gen Z, so if the education sector, they should more spend on that. And coming to the third is the healthcare sector, because that's one of the most important sector, and doing some preventive maintenance healthcare so that the diseases that are coming in is not a big challenge for the country in the future. So these are the 3 expectations.
Let me come to you. Let me have your take with regard to what you expect.
So my name is Suchetan and I am currently in my final year of MBA. So my expectations from this budget, as I know the government is being fiscally prudent, but at the same time they should see that consumption is going down. So they should do something that can spur consumption, because we know private consumption in India, household consumption is about 62% of the GDP. So government should incentivize consumption, because that is also affecting the private capital expenditure.
How do you think they should incentivize consumption?
So they can give incentives to the private sector so that they can expand their operations, and also they can give some discounts to the customers so that they can also purchase more. At the same time, the government should do reforms in the taxation, because at this current scenario, the middle class is quite feeling the brunt of the taxation, and if they have more disposable income.
Would you prefer a lower indirect tax, or would you prefer a lower direct tax?
I think they should lower the direct tax, because indirect tax everybody pays, but direct tax is currently a burden of about only 6.67% of the population. So that is something they should look into.
Very interesting.
I just want to continue on the economic pulse of the country. It's very important. The first thing that all the no's, all the expectations I've highlighted is on the tight check on fiscal deficit that is there. I want to understand your perspective on this.
Yeah, sure. So I think countering to what he said, I think consumer inflation is one very important thing that we need to talk about and focus on. And one thing that we can do to reduce consumer inflation and also fund green projects done by the government is to sell green bonds to retail investors like us. So that's a good way to reduce the disposable income available in the hands of people like us, and also to fund green projects done by the government. So investments in green sectors, etc.
And what other measures, apart from the economic pulse, what are the other measures that you feel are very important for the other need of the hour right now?
One more thing that we can also do is adjusting the income tax slabs for inflation, so that only the real income is taxed as such. So right now the income tax slabs are not adjusted for inflation. So that is one thing that can be done.
Right. So green energy, green bonds, that is the focus. But what else, Harsh?
Yeah, so interesting one. Hi, we're speaking for the second time actually. So tell me, would you prefer elections or do you prefer the budget? What as an event do you prefer more?
So I would prefer budget over elections.
Okay, so what are your expectations from this budget?
So my expectation is that the textile sector could receive a greater allocation, like it would increase of 15% to 5,080 crores, and it could be in terms of reducing the basic custom duty on all varieties of cotton, increasing the PLI allocation for textile sector, and also in terms of increasing the rebate to 10% from 6 to 8% on central and state tax levies for exporters. Now, why particularly textile? Because as we have seen that Bangladesh has went to a political turmoil. So even the global retailers are looking for an alternative supplier. So India can be one of them, but there are certain sectoral issues related to cost that the government can address by the measures that I have mentioned.
China plus one also playing out here, Anushi.
China plus one playing. Here I'm hearing a lot of whispers and murmurs about the EV sector, how that is so important. So I want to get an outlook on what is the expectations from the EV side that we can see.
So for my summer internship process, I had done a market research in the state of Jharkhand regarding EV and the proliferation of EV vehicles in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. One of the biggest problems that we are facing is that there is a lack of charging infrastructure, and private companies as well as the government is doing a passing the parcel as to who will invest first in the charging infrastructure. So without a robust charging infrastructure, the EV sector will still not be nascent.
So according to you, what are some of the key measures that can be taken to improve this?
So first of all, one party has to lose this small battle in order to win the war. They'll have to take the first step in terms of planning as well as initial investment, and then setting out a skeletal base for the EV charging infrastructure. And after that, the other party can build upon that charging infrastructure to have a better proliferated network. And that charging infrastructure should be in all the cities, not just concentrated only in Delhi and Mumbai.
Very insightful, absolutely. That is what we can see. But coming to you, what are your expectations on this budget?
It's the era of entrepreneurship. So Gen Zs look for simplified tax structure and probably more easier access to funds. Like the last time we had abolition of angel tax, which was a positive step towards this. So probably easier access to capital, and also probably not complex tax structures, especially for like tier 2 and tier 3 cities.
Right, Harsh. So there you have it, importance of EVs and even more in news.
Yeah, I mean, there's such diversity in terms of viewpoint, and that's what's really fascinating. They're well-read, they know what they want. Let me come to you, buddy. What's your expectation? Your name first and then your expectation.
Hi, I am Yash Asrani. The one thing I've realized last 2 quarters, urban consumption has hit a roadblock, indicating that middle class is now suffering. So the upcoming budget should focus on reviving the urban economy, especially by giving more money to the middle class.
How do you do that?
So you make the taxes more progressive in terms of a couple of times brackets were changed, probably because of election years. You make them better. For example, if I am entering the workforce soon, I would prefer simplified taxes. That is one of the things I could think of.
And do you believe that the new tax regime versus the old tax regime is more simplified, or do you still believe that there's still a fair amount of complexity there?
I think it's pretty complex because the direct benefits of either of them, especially the new tax regime, aren't seen to us for now. Plus, the new tax regime is especially like after 7 lakh, that is directly targeting the middle class. So the number of people who pay taxes has fallen after the new tax regime because more people are getting exempted now.
Very interesting. Again, those views coming through. Let me come to you, ma'am. Your name as well as what you expect.
So I'm Janvi Shah, and what I expect from the budget is the government should really focus more on diversifying the skill sets that are youth are facing. So it's very difficult to get a quality job after professional degrees. Even in postgraduate programs, the government should really diversify into AI, cloud computing, and a lot of coding-based skills that are really not a part of curriculum anywhere. So there should be updated curriculum.
So they should update the curriculum. They should introduce a new education policy. Is that what you are proposing, even at a senior secondary level?
No, so the education policy is already in place. So they really have to start building upon all the promises made in the previous budgets. We have been talking about it since 2020. So
Fair point, absolutely.
Employment opportunities, EVs, railways, infra. But I want to understand your view on what do you expect from this budget.
So I think there are a few contradictions in our current system. Our tax on insurance is 18%, which is in direct contradiction to our Viksit Bharat goal of having insurance for all by 2047. So I would really like to see tax exemptions for insurance, for life-saving medicines, and just increased allocation for healthcare overall, so that we can provide better working conditions to our medical doctors and stuff, and also better mental health services and so on.
Right. And what do you think, like, for the growth of the country, other than what you just mentioned, in terms of the economic pulse? You know, someone was just speaking about the rural consumption which is missing. What is your take on that?
I think I agree with all the points that is suggested. I don't have anything.
Okay, thanks for that. But yeah, let's move on. Let's get more views, Harsh. So what do you think?
Let me come to you, buddy. Give us your name and tell us what you expect.
Hi, I am Dhruv Basalia, and I really anticipate the government to give some tax relief to the steel manufacturers of this country, as well as levy some taxes on China, which we have been importing the steel from. So China has a long history of dumping steel in India. So talking about 2022, they dumped a lot of steel in India. At that time, the price was at 65,000 per metric ton. Right now, due to the competition from China, we are currently seeing the local manufacturers come down the prices at 45,000 per metric ton. So that's a huge loss and takedown for the steel manufacturers of this country, as well as the steel traders for this country. So we really anticipate the government to give some tax relief or some tax cuts for the traders, as well as the steel manufacturers of this country.
You spoke about textiles. Now we're talking commodities as well. Ma'am, let me come to you. Your view, and first your name, please, and thereafter your view. Let me come on this side.
Hi, so my name is Dhruvi, and I think now the inflation is literally going up every day. So with that, to cope up with the increasing standard of living, I think the basic exemption limit should be increased to minimum of 10 lakh, because right now we see that there is tax on pretty much everything. So to cope up with the increasing cost of living, that should be one thing.
Pertinent point. When you look at the last 10 years, so 7% average inflation, what we're talking about is basic exemption limits also going up in proportion to that. Again, a very interesting point coming through.
Interesting. Want to take your view on what are your key budget expectations?
Hi, my name is Nidhi Bhanushali. So I am expecting some changes in the mutual fund area to promote long-term investing. So something like giving incentives on long-term SIPs, or increasing the exemptions on long-term tax gains, so that there is some kind of systematic investing happening. Because if we look at Gen Zs like me, there are a lot of traders who are doing short-term trading, and it is disrupting the markets a lot. So to promote long-term investments, this can be done.
Maybe just want to add up to that. Are you an investor in the market in terms of SIP, or just personally?
Yeah, so I am investing in SIPs. My father is a mutual fund distributor, so I have been taught to invest long-term ever since I have been born, and I don't see people around me doing that. So I am very promoting that you should invest for long.
Of course. That is the need of the hour, Harsh.
Yeah, it is. And again, a very interesting point, not something one would have thought of. A special tax on SIP redemptions rather than taxing it as long-term capital gains. Again, something differentiated, something new, something I didn't expect. Over to you.
So I am Daksh Jain. So the people are expecting for the tax rates to be lowered in this budget, and also the tax rates should be lifted in the education sector, and we as students we are expecting that the GST rate should be lowered for us in the education sector, and also as per our Prime Minister's vision of $10 trillion economy by 2030. So we are expecting that the budget will be more focused on the AI sector, and also the rural development, the infrastructure in the rural development, that should be also considered. That will be also considered in this budget, like the internet infrastructure in the rural sector of our country, the rural villages. By doing that, there will be more focus on the digitalization, and the people will get more exposure to the digital markets, which will help us to grow.
Yeah, well, Amazon has certainly helped, and now quick commerce is helping us even more in terms of reach, where products are going to the grassroots through Amazon and through other quick commerce channels.
If you take last term's budget in consideration, you remember we were sitting on the laptops calculating the long-term capital gain taxes on the real estate sector. That is one of the important sectors in focus. I want to understand your viewpoint on what are some of the other highlights that we can see.
Hi, myself, Nupa Daru. I expect that government, I'm just adding to his point.
Of course.
I feel government should bring petrol and diesel under GST purview, because currently the all the states have their different VAT rate, and so they should charge a uniform GST rate, and if you bring petrol under GST, it will lead us to reduced fuel cost for various industries like logistics, and it will reduce their operational cost because they can claim input tax credit on that. So I feel government should bring petrol diesel under GST.
Absolutely. So petrol and diesel, this has been talked about before as well, you know, the importance of it. But what else, Harsh? What else?
Well, yeah, let me come to you.
So my name is Yash Shah. So with all the cities AQI getting worse and worse over time, I would like government to prioritize on climate tech and sustainability while boosting the investments in EV infrastructure, green energies, and etc. So they can boost the environment by introducing tax incentives or green bonds to promote private investments and corporations to get into it. They can also expand the rural solar energy, then also work on waste management policies, etc.
Very interesting. Waste management, but more importantly on air quality index and how that can be maybe made better, especially in cities.
We've got a lot of insights, but you know, coming to the final one, what do you think? What is your expectation?
Hi, my name is Tanya. So I think a lot of us have been noticing the increase of people going outside for foreign education. So one of my worries is that seeing the quality of education, it might lead to brain drain in our population in the future. So one thing I'm interested in seeing is how the government plans to allocate the budget, especially to higher education, specific skill sets, anything that helps to replenish the population that is moving outside to pursue better opportunities. And also maybe if they would allocate anything to increase the quality of our universities and maybe encourage and stimulate people from outside coming to settle in our country for education. So that will lead to the mixture of cultures and opportunities for more stimulation in the economy. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be quite interesting. And it's a very different take as to what we've been hearing.
Yeah, and we've gotten a different take from nearly everyone. We've not had a repeated take. What I'd really be interested in also knowing while I'm here taking this opportunity from all of you, just show of hands, I hope I'm audible, just show of hands, how many of you all invest in mutual funds? Okay, interesting. Are any of you all, okay, hands down, how many of you all worried that markets are under pressure and therefore thinking of recalibrating your SIPs, if you all have any, or planning to pull out from mutual funds? How many of you all? Show of hands. Okay, so minority, okay. How many of you all directly invest in equities? Okay, how many of you all worried right now that equities are facing pressure? Okay. Oh, okay, so a few more hands coming up.
Let's also get that perspective.
Yeah, what's the sense like? 2025 is, how many of you all think it's going to be a washout here? Where there's going to be no action. Okay, everyone's positive.
Everyone is positive.
This
That's
is
a good
interesting.
thing. That's a good indicator.
Yeah, okay. And how many of you all sitting on losses and holding on? Okay, thank you for being honest. How many of you all do trading, F&O? Okay, there you go. How many of you all do crypto? Okay, I need to speak to him because he's raised his hand the most. Okay, so tell us your views on crypto now. Bitcoin at 100,000 plus. Do you expect it to go higher? What's the sense?
Personally, I feel like the volatility within the crypto space means that even if it does go higher, me, like I said, as a student, piling my savings into it, I stand to lose too much because of the price jacks more than the other investors. But I think in India, personally, I find the redemption of my profits too hard to navigate. The government says they're imposing 100% tax. But what is it on? Peer-to-peer? How do they plan to tax peer-to-peer transactions?
Sure.
They've announced their policies, but there's no implementation. How do they plan to take money from these exchanges?
Right.
What happens when an exchange fails? Who is to be held accountable? There's just too many factors at play. I myself...
and yet you're doing crypto.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. It's been a fantastic conversation. Thank you everyone for participating in this. It's been absolutely mega fun for all of us. But with that, it's back to you guys in the studio. Thanks so much.